know what I'm saying? If I go back, if I go with a more road bike setup, right, which would be basically, just basically being the big ring, right, and then having the middle ring as my, bailout gear, right. If I do that, have that set up, my bottom end will be like at about, will be at a 1.5, right. So again, it lose, I would have to sacrifice a little bit of hill climbing ability, but I don't care, right. Like I said, because like I don't care about that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about cadence and RPMs, and I don't care about any of that shit. I just like, and so that's why, uh, you know, uh, I'm gonna make another adjustment and go with a more road bike like setup. You know, um, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, with the road bike setup, it will, allow me to have a bottom end or low gear on the bottom end of like 1.5, right? Which again, like I said, like I said, I'm not a racer. I'm not a competitive cyclist. I don't need to, 1.5 on the low end, on bottom end. It's like, I can climb with that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I've gotten stronger. I've demonstrated that I can climb a little bit with a 2.2 ratio, right? With the cruising gear, right? I've demonstrated, by climbing some of this, I've climbed up a really, really, really steep ass hill by where I work at. I, made a big accomplishment by climbing in my cruising gear, which I didn't have to do, right? Which demonstrates that I don't need quite as much bottom end as I need, and that going with the more road bike like setup is more fun, right? Like I said, I don't care, what I'm saying? I thought I cared about, hill climbing ability and shit like that. And I was like, again, I keep telling myself, like, if I were, going on like 50, 40 mile commutes per day, then maybe I could entertain that idea. But still, knowing a guy like me, I still like to fuck around and go fast and shit like that. And on a bike like this, you're gonna want to push top end, right? Like I said, I don't care about low ratios. I don't care about that shit, right? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, like I said, having a more road bike setup, I'm gonna lose out on the bottom end, but I'm gonna have way more on the top end, right? And even if I don't use the top end, it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. I'm like, first of all, either way, I'm gonna be more efficient. I'm gonna be faster, right? And I'm gonna be gunning it up hills, right? So I'm gonna be faster on hills anyway, right? And that's the thing. Like, it comes with a price, right? The price is like, yes, a higher power output. Yes, I'm gonna be tired and fatigued more, but there's always a price. There's always a compromise, right? And this is a compromise I'm willing to pay. I'd rather just, gas out and walk and have that experience than stay comfortable